Dial-up internet. Back in the early 2000s, getting online wasn't as much as a click as it was a ritual. You'd sit down, wait for the computer to warm up, double-click the big blue E, and brace yourself. Then came the screech. The noise sounded like your computer was choking on metal, and somehow that meant it was working. But if you heard it, you were halfway there. Dial-up ran through landline phones, which meant the internet and talking couldn't happen at the same time. If someone picked up the phone mid-download, your connection collapsed like a house of cards. And the speed was painful. Images loaded 1 pixel row at a time, like they were being hand-painted by a ghost. Watching a video was a luxury reserved for people who liked buffering more than actual content. Maybe you would even click download, go to school, come back, and hope the file was done, or at least still working. But for all its flaws, dial-up was weirdly magical. It was slow, yes, fragile, absolutely, but it was also the first time millions of people got to explore the internet. Message boards, MSN, weird fan pages, it felt like digital space you actually had to earn. VHS tapes. Before autoplay and before streaming queues, you were using shelves a bit more than now, more specifically for your VHS tapes. Actual shelves stacked with plastic bricks that held your favorite movies. And to watch one, you basically had to physically grab it, shove it into a VCR, and hope it didn't eat the tape. The VHS had rules. Rewind it when you're done. Don't record over something important. And never trust a tape that was already halfway through when you hit play. You'd get static, tracking lines, maybe even someone else's recording if it was reused. Some tapes showed up in crisp white cases, while others were just loose and rattling in the box. You could feel the weight of a good movie night, and if a tape jammed, that was a full-blown household crisis. You'd start mashing buttons, flipping the VCR over, maybe even blowing into it, like that ever helped. CRT monitors. If you lived or remembered something in the 2000s, then you must know what this is. You either used it for your PC, or it was your TV. They were big, boxy, heavy as 5 microwaves. If you tried to move one, you had to use both hands and maybe your back. Most people today just call them fat monitors, because compared to today's flat screens, these things looked like they were hiding a brick collection inside. They worked by firing electron beams at a glass screen coated in phosphor. That's why they were so deep. All the tech had to sit behind the screen, like a little laser light show. And if you ever got too close, you could hear a soft hum and feel a bit of static on your arm hairs. It was like the monitor was alive. The resolution wasn't perfect, but it had character. Fonts were a little blurry, colors popped in a weirdly satisfying way, and if you left one on too long, it could burn the image right into the screen. iPods. Long before phones did everything, we had iPods, and all they did was play music. That was enough. These chunky little rectangles with the white earbuds basically ruled the 2000s. If you saw someone scrolling a tiny wheel with their thumb, you knew they were just looking for that one song. The early iPods promised 1,000 songs in your pocket, which felt like magic. No more swapping CDs or hoping the radio played your favorite track. You could carry your entire music library on the bus, on the toilet, or while ignoring your family in the living room. There were different versions, the classic with that heavy brick-like weight, the nano that vanished in your jeans, the shuffle that didn't even have a screen, and the touch, which was basically a training iPhone. Each one felt like a personality type. You were listening to songs and you owned them. You built playlists like mixtapes for your future self. Scrolling endlessly just to find the perfect song was part of the ritual, and that little click wheel sounded so satisfying. Windows XP. If you turned on a computer in the 2000s, chances are you were greeted by a green hill, a blue sky, and a startup sound that still lives in your brain rent-free. That was Windows XP, the operating system that felt like the official OS of childhood, homework, and aimlessly opening Paint just to paint some random things. Launched in 2001, Windows XP didn't try to impress you with flashy design, it just worked. Simple icons, colorful buttons, and a taskbar that didn't need a tutorial. You could write your essay, open LimeWire, minimize Minesweeper, and crash the system all in the same afternoon. The best part was probably the customization. Everyone had a weird desktop setup. Some people went with the grassy hill, others slapped on a Dragon Ball Z wallpaper and called it art. There were folders named New Folder 2 inside New Folder 3, and if your PC ever froze, you knew exactly where to go. Control, Alt, Delete, the holy trinity of survival. XP stuck around way longer than it should have. Even after Windows Vista came and flopped, even after Windows 7 arrived, people clung to XP like it was a beloved family pet. It finally got put to rest in 2014. MySpace. MySpace was the first time your online profile felt like your room. Messy, loud, way too personal, but completely yours. You had a profile song that blasted the second someone clicked in, a background that made eyes bleed, and a bio filled with inside jokes no one else understood. Your top 8, that was your friend group's scoreboard. People got moved up or down depending on real-life drama, and nothing caused tension like getting bumped for someone new. You could customize everything, the fonts, the colors, the layout. You were using MySpace, but at some point, it felt like you were coding it. Copy-pasting broken HTML from some glitter text generator and hoping it didn't crash your entire page. And somehow, in the middle of all that chaos, MySpace became a music hub. Artists uploaded songs, people discovered bands, and half of everyone's playlists came from someone else's profile. For a few wild years, it felt like the center of the internet. But then Facebook showed up in a plain white shirt and took the job. Floppy disks. They were thin, fragile, and held less memory than a single photo on your phone. But in the 90s and early 2000s, floppy disks were everywhere. School reports, saved games, clip art, you name it, it lived on a floppy. You'd slide one into the drive with a satisfying click and wait while it whirred like it was solving a puzzle. If you were lucky, the file opened. If not, you'd get an error, eject it, blow some dust off like a game cartridge, and try again. That was the method. No one questioned it. Most held 1.44 megabytes, not gigabytes, megabytes. Enough for a Word doc, or maybe 2 blurry photos if you compressed them, but they felt futuristic. You could label them, color code them, and carry them in little plastic boxes like a digital filing cabinet. And people were careful with them. You never bent a floppy. You never touched the metal side, and God help you if you get too close to a magnet. That meant instant death. But eventually USB drives wiped them out in one clean sweep. More space, more speed, no weird clicking sounds. Hubba Bubba tape. If you wanted to buy some bubblegum, then you were in for a treat back in the day, because Hubba Bubba tape came in that little round case, and when you opened it, there was an actual roll of gum inside, a full spiral of chewy, stretchy candy, like someone turned a fruit-scented tire into a snack. You could tear off a tiny piece or unroll the whole thing. The flavor hit fast, and disappeared even faster, but by then you were already peeling off another strip. Technically, it was 6 feet of gum, but nobody was measuring. You just bit into it like a maniac, or dared your friend to eat the whole thing in one go. One chew, and your jaw was already sore. 2 chews, and you felt like you were chewing on a yoga mat soaked in Kool-Aid. The flavor was insanely sweet and gone in 60 seconds. But that first minute was childhood-level dopamine, and if you managed to blow a bubble the size of your face without it popping in your hair, you were basically a wizard. Tamagotchi. Your Tamagotchi was just a toy, but it felt like it was your pixel pet, your responsibility, your tiny 24/7 panic button. It lived inside a plastic egg the size of a car key, and somehow still managed to feel like it needed more attention than a real dog. 3 buttons were all you had. You feed it, clean it, and check on it. And if you forgot, it died. Not in some metaphorical game over way. You'd wake up to a gravestone icon and a deep sense of failure. You didn't just lose a game, you let a creature starve to death in your pocket. And they weren't quiet about their needs. Beep if it's hungry, beep if it's sick, beep if it's bored. It beeped during class, at dinner, at night. You had to sneak it under the desk like it was contraband. Blockbuster. You weren't just renting a movie, because the feeling was so good, you were basically making an event out of it. You'd get in the car, maybe with your parents, maybe with your siblings, and head straight to Blockbuster like it was a weekly holiday. That big blue and yellow sign glowing like it was calling you in. Sometimes you knew exactly what you wanted, but it was already gone. Just an empty plastic hook where the case should have been. So you'd panic pick something else and pretend it was your plan all along. Other times you found gold by accident. A movie you never heard of that became your new obsession for a week. Blockbuster had rules. Return by Tuesday. Rewind your tapes. Don't lose the box or you owe the GDP of a small country. And God help you if someone returned a DVD scratched. Game Boy. If you had a Game Boy, then you already know this thing was your childhood. It didn't matter if the screen was tiny, green-tinted, and impossible to see in the dark. You squinted, angled it toward the sun, and played anyway. You didn't have brightness settings at that time. The buttons were very satisfying and nostalgic, and that little startup sound was instant serotonin. You'd blow the dust out of a cartridge like it was a sacred ritual, slam it in, and if it didn't work, take it out and blow harder. There were no updates and no cloud saves. If your batteries died mid-game, you were cooked. And yes, the batteries. AA ones you'd beg your parents to buy every other week, because somehow Pokemon drained power like a microwave.